Now ABC are 3 points lying in order on a straight line with those dimensions. So we're going to, let's summarize this question. ABC, we have A, we have B right there, we have C. Now ABC are simply 3 points lying in that order on a straight line, with AB giving us 60 meters, so we have down here 60 meters. Then AC is 80 meters, so we move from here to right to there is 80 meters. So if this is 60 and from A to C is 80, so to get BC is simply going to be 80 minus 60 to get the remainder of this portion BC, which is, so that 60 plus 20 is 80 meters. So they're telling us that AB is 60 meters and AC is 80 meters. A body moves from A to B at an average speed of 10 meters per second. So the body moving from here to here, this is the distance, we call it S, and the S there. So it means that the average speed here is going to be 10 meters per second to move from A to B. Then this same body they are talking about, then this same body moves from B to C in a time of 4 seconds. So it moves from B to C in a time of 4 seconds. And then it returns to B. So it means after moving to C, it comes back and returns. It returns to point B. And then it returns to B. The average speed for the whole journey is 5 meters per second. So it means that average speed to move from A, B to C, then back to B is 5 meters per second. So now that we finished summarizing our question, let's look at what they want us to find here. Part A, the question requires us to find the average speed of the body in the second stage of the motion, B to C. Of course, now the second stage of the motion here is B to C is right here, and the question is requiring us to find the average speed. So right here they want the average speed. Then part B wants us to find the average speed of the body moving from A to C. So the average speed moving from A to C. So meaning that we are also required to find the average speed. So the second part of the question wants us to find the average speed to moving from A to C. So we're supposed to also find that. Then also part C, the time taken for the third stage of the motion, that is from C to B. So from C to B, what is the time taken to move for that portion of motion? So the time taken to move from C to B is also required, so we'll mark that as well. Then part D, the average velocity for the complete motion. So this is definitely what we shall do at the very end, the average velocity of the complete motion. So now let's get started with part A. Part A is requiring us to find the average speed of the body in the second stage of the motion. Now this is the second stage of the motion. They want us to find the average speed, so we will go ahead and calculate it. Now we know that the average speed, the formula is going to be equal to the total distance divided by the total time. Now the second portion of the motion, B to C, the average speed we are supposed to find here is going to give us the total distance, which is 20 meters, divided by the total time, which is 4 seconds. So in this case, this is going to become equal to 20 divided by 4. It is 20 meters and these are 4 seconds. So it means our answer is going to become 5 meters per second. And that's our average speed for the second portion of the motion. So we have answered part A. Now part B required us to find the average speed of the body moving from A to C. So we're supposed to find this average speed moving from A to C. To find that average speed, it's going to be equal to total distance divided by total time. So now the total distance moved, as this body is moving from A to C, the total distance is definitely going to be 60 meters plus the 20 meters, which is the 80 meters that were given in the question. So it's going to become 80 meters divided by the total time. Now the total time moved, we do not have the time. We have the time between B and C, but from A to B we do not have the time covered. We only have the average speed and the distance. We do not have the time here. So it means that for us to get the total time of this whole distance, we need to first find the total time here. So it means we are going to do some sort of side work to get the total time here. To get the total time covered between A and B, we know still that distance is going to be equal to speed times time. Now the distance covered from A to B is 60, so it's going to be 60 is going to be equal to speed. The speed covered is 10 meters per second times the time. So when we make t our subject of the formula, t is going to become 60 over 10, which is going to be 6 seconds. So it means that the time taken to move from A to B, the time there is 6 seconds. Now that we have the time covered from A to B, then we have time covered from B to C. So now we can get the total time taken to move from A to C. So we can now continue here with our average speed of from A to C. Our average speed is definitely going to be total distance, which is that over total time. The total time is 6 plus 4, which is 10 seconds. So it's going to be over 10 seconds. And definitely our answer there is going to be, so our average speed definitely there is 8 meters per second. So we go ahead and answer part C. Part C required us to find the time taken for the third stage of the motion, that is from C to B. So as you're moving from point C to point B, what is the total time taken? Now we know that average speed is going to give us total distance, divide that by total time. And now the total distance, as this thing moves from A to B to C, then back to B. As we are moving from A to B to C, then back to B, the total distance covered is going to be 60 plus 20 meters, then plus 20 meters. So it's going to be 60 plus 20 meters plus another 20 meters. That's the total distance covered. Divide that by the total time. The total time from here to there, we got 6 seconds, so it's going to be 6 seconds. Add that to the total time moved from B to C is 4 seconds. So the total time moved from B to C is 4 seconds plus 4 seconds. Add that to the total time moved from C to B is not known. So the total time moved from B to C is not known, and it is what they want, so we'll call it T. That is going to give us the average speed. Now the average speed of the whole journey is 5 meters per second. So the rest is arithmetics. This is 100. Divide that by 10 plus t is equal to 5 meters per second. When we make t the subject of the formula, we shall end up with, so we get our value of t here as 10 seconds. So what does that mean? It means that the time taken to move back from C to B is 10 seconds. Then in part D, we are required to find the average velocity for the complete motion. To find the average velocity of the complete motion, the formula will be total displacement divide that by total time. Now of course the total displacement, according to our diagram, the total displacement, we see that this object, the movement is from A to B to C in that direction, then it comes backwards. So it's going to be that in the positive direction minus the distance. Our displacement is moving from here up to there. That's our displacement. I hope we still remember that the difference. Distance is 60 plus 20 plus another 20. But now this is displacement. Displacement is the distance covered in a specified direction. So it means our displacement is just this distance from the point you started to where you ended. That's your displacement. So it means that according to this, our total displacement is going to be from here to there, that is 60 meters. So it means our displacement is 60 meters in the right direction, or let's call it the eastern direction. 60 meters due east, divide that by the total time taken. The total time taken is 6 seconds plus 4 seconds plus 10 seconds. That's going to give us 20 seconds. So it's going to be 60, divide that by 20. And definitely that is going to give us 3 meters per second due east. This brings us to the end of this video. Thanks for watching. Feel free to check out other excellent videos on the channel and don't forget to subscribe. For Kisembo Academy, this is Arnold Rangakuramia helping you manifest excellence.